Hello, my name is Frank Caprio, unabashed conservative and a true supporter of our founding principles. I am an American who realizes the duty that comes with that title. Too many people today are trying to live the American dream without also upholding the values which allow them to pursue that dream. I feel that education is the proper course to bring the truth to the people and to allow them to make decisions from a rational point of view. I have written a book, Patriot Ammo, The Words Behind Our Flag, which was intended for high school students. It is a civics book that covers the truth of our founding, which most have probably never even been taught. I also have a blog, Constitutional Cappuccino, the wake-up call to the Constitution and the ideals it espouses. I have over 50 articles to date. The majority of those articles cover various aspects of our founding principles, the Declaration of Independence, and the Constitution. The idea of education has been under constant attack in our country for decades. The enemies of America have been very successful in the dumbing down of America. We must become educated for our country to survive. Thomas Jefferson agreed. He stated, "If a nation expects to be ignorant and free in a state of civilization, it expects what never was and never will be." In this podcast, I will be talking about some of the principles of our founding. To have the ability to defend our Constitution, it is mandatory to understand the foundation upon which it was built. I realize over the years as I interact with people that some of the constitutional principles I espouse are hard to understand because of their lack of knowledge concerning our establishment as a nation. They have no idea why we went to war in 1776, what's written in the Declaration of Independence, or the basis for our government. The basics of what our country are founded upon is a simple yet powerful idea that has been forgotten over the imposing 2 centuries since we became a republic. It was a radical idea at the time, but it has been shown to be a powerful system to promote prosperity and liberty. These ideals were laid out for us in the Declaration of Independence. These were the basis for staging a revolution and creating a country. These are the bedrock ideals of the United States of America. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among these, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. To secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that when any form of government is destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundations in such principles and organizing its powers in such forms as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. In my opinion, these are the most important words of the Declaration of Independence. These 111 words tell everyone who reads them the reason we took the audacious step to revolt, and it also speaks volumes about the problems we witness from government on all levels today. These words have been forgotten by many people and are thus ignored by our lawmakers and those that do their bidding. These words are the foundation of what makes this country great. The federal government, which was created by our Constitution, also respected these words in its creation. So the first words, we hold these truths to be self-evident. Many countries have existed throughout time, yet these simple truths that were listed in the Declaration were never espoused nor implemented. Our country was the first. This statement reflects that the principles to follow are easily discernible to the author and to all those who read it. It implies that the principles that follow can be understood by any who are exposed to them. In particular, it depicts the culmination of many lessons from Western civilization that have been taught over the centuries for anyone who would care to look at them. Our founders were thankfully such men. Next, that all men are created equal. This has a simple but profound meaning. It simply states that no one is born to rule over others. It was still a belief at the time that there were those among us who are born to dominate over others. Ancestry and conquest were the vehicles used by most at the time to rise to power. Either born into the right family, anointed by God, or being able to raise a sufficient force to conquer a nation were the criteria for becoming a ruler. This idea is rejected by the statement. The paragraph continues, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. This is the most profound statement of them all. Our rights are unalienable. They do not come from man, they do not come from government, they do not come from a piece of paper. Rights are a part of a person just like one's heart is. These rights cannot be taken away nor denied. They are yours to enjoy because they are part of you. More people need to understand what our inalienable rights are so we can properly identify when they are being infringed upon. The Bill of Rights is a good example of what our rights look like. Which leads to the next words, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These are the most important and easily discernible of our natural rights. Life is at the top because without life, all of the rights are moot. Life encompasses your body and the ability to implement actions that you want to take. Liberty implies that you are only restricted in your actions when they begin to impose on another person's rights. All other actions by individuals are supported. Whom you associate with, whom you work for, what hobbies or other actions you take are for you and you alone to decide. This is not a government matter, nor should they interfere in these activities. The pursuit of happiness is wrapped up in this thought also. Private property ownership is the key to that pursuit. Private property includes your physical belongings, land, home, your personal beliefs, and any wealth you have accumulated living your life. Government was created to protect these things, not to tax them or to take them. Let me ask you a simple question. Why did the 13 colonies go to war? There are many reasons given, but those reasons can all be boiled down into one simple concept: liberty. I believe that too many people do not know what this word means. Liberty. In the dictionary, we find definitions such as these: freedom from arbitrary or despotic government or control, freedom from external or foreign rule, independence, freedom from control, interference, obligation, restriction, hampering conditions, etc., power or right of doing, thinking, speaking, etc., according to choice. These are all correct in their own way, but the definition is even more concise. Liberty is taking any action you want as long as you infringe on no one else's rights. Liberty is the basis from which we should judge everything else. The idea of liberty should be at the forefront when people are deciding right from wrong, and liberty should definitely be integral when government is deciding on new laws. Now continuing, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men. This is the reason we have government. The government exists to protect our rights. This protection extends to any entity that would infringe upon them, foreign or domestic. Government is to be invoked only when a person's rights are violated. There is no other reason we institute government than we did for this one simple idea, to protect our rights. And next is deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. Now this is probably the most misunderstood or ignored passage of the document. Superficially, it means that we elect those people who will represent us in government, but the full meaning escapes most people. Its message is that our government can only have the powers that we the people already possess. That is what makes it just. If a person cannot act in a way towards another person, then government cannot act in that manner either. If we the people do not possess a right to do something, how can we give that power away? It is not ours to give. If one person cannot do something, why do some people think that 100, 1,000, or even 1,000,000 people gathering together suddenly manifest this power? This is the root of many of the problems that we face today. And lastly, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundations on such principles and organizing its powers in such forms as of them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. This is the mandate indicating that government is a creation of the people, and when the people feel their government is opposed to the furtherance of liberty and prosperity, then it is the right of the people to form a new government. We are the rulers of government, not the other way around. Is that the life we currently experience in the United States of America? I don't think so. And as we move away from these principles, we see the results: a more obtrusive and tyrannical government, a steady decline in the prosperity and freedom of the people to pursue their dreams, a government that continues to grow larger and appropriate more of America's hard-earned wealth while putting us deeper and deeper into debt. We see a government telling the people what to do. We see a government who consistently and often breaks the laws that created it and violates our rights as they are doing it. Our government produces nothing. They simply take from one to give to another. This is blatantly wrong, and it must be stopped. Every building that they build, every person that they employ, every staple, pen, or vehicle they use come from American pockets. Every wage and pension they offer to government employees is paid for by Americans. Every dollar they give to a foreign country or redistribute here in America is paid for by Americans. Government produces wealth like a tick produces blood. How long ago did government move away from the idea of protecting our rights and instead try to tell us how to live our lives? When did the free market get co-opted by the government? When did we lose control of our money and the fruits of our labor? When did we acquiesce to becoming subjects of our government? When did we go from sovereign to subject? The answers differ, but the fact remains. Government at every level is to blame for the majority of problems we face as Americans. For our country to survive, this must be addressed. This is not a question of if, it is a question of when. As we continue to ignore our founding ideals and the true problems we face as a nation, we are moving farther away from liberty and prosperity. As we are diverted into endless talks about the symptoms of the problems we face, we are herded ever closer to our destruction. There is a central nexus to our problems, the unconstitutional and out-of-control government that burdens our lives. All levels of government that continue to make inroads into abridging our freedoms must be reined in. To ignore this simple truth is to run away from any real solutions. We were given the gift of liberty, but its maintenance is our responsibility. We, the people, are failing our country and future generations, which will have to fight once again to realize what we were given by our forefathers. Education and action are what is needed. A coming together of the disparate groups that attack the symptoms of the problem, yet leave the central rot in place. Division is a tool of those looking to destroy our country. We need to stop with the endless distractions and focus on the true problems we face as a nation and come together to solve them. A constitutionally limited government would go a long way towards that goal. We may have differences between us, but there is a threat that dwarfs all of it and is the root of most of it: our own government. This is nothing new in history. Hopefully we learn the lessons of history and take appropriate steps to solve the problems. Many billions of people living and yet to be born rely on us to do so. I hope you have enjoyed this podcast. I will end with a quote from Benjamin Franklin. Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety.